Dr. Angela Lim founded mental health and wellbeing platform Clearhead 5 years ago, taking on some huge global competitors in the fast-growing workplace wellbeing space. She joins me now, and Angela, why do we need a local solution to workplace wellbeing?
Yes. Well, what we have found is that when you have these large multinational EAP providers, is often you don't get a very culturally responsive clinician. We have found that if you have a local solution, that you're more likely to be matched to someone that actually understands what it means to live, work and play in New Zealand, in Australia, in this region. And that's something that we're really focused on doing. And that's why we have 1,000 clinicians across Australia and New Zealand.
Now tell us, your company always puts people in touch with therapists within 24 hours of needing it, particularly if it's critical. We often hear as the public that there's no mental health professionals in the workplaces, the workforce is really not there. How do you manage to fulfil that promise?
Yeah, so yes, there is a need for more mental health workforce. However, with the existing mental health workforce, there is a huge amount of waste that goes on. For example, 20% of appointments are generally not attended. So these last-minute cancellations could be filled. So it's like having 20% more clinicians, for example. And so the way that we do that is we have the real-time availability of these clinicians. That means that at any point in time, we will always have a handful of clinicians that are available in this current 24-hour period that would be able to deliver support as required.
It strikes me that the model that you've got could be applied to the health system more generally. Have you thought about doing that?
I have tried. It's the short answer. We welcome the government, especially congratulations to the new mental health minister, Matt Ducey, we in New Zealand, and of course similarly in Australia. So we really welcome the opportunity to partner with the government to solve this problem. We have, as you have correctly identified, built a problem that is quite a need in both the public and private system.
Yeah. That's right. Technology really sounds like it's the cornerstone of what you're offering.
Yes, that is what makes Clearhead unique, using technology to solve real-world problems.
Yeah. Now, talk about fundraising and what you need, the difficulties you may have experienced, and where it's going to take you. Where is it going to take Clearhead?
Yeah, so Clearhead is been able to basically both grow across New Zealand and Australia. We're now a multi-million-dollar turnover business, but also being able to achieve profitability. And so where we're at now is we'd love to invite capital partners that are aligned in the social mission that can help us scale up internationally. That's kind of the main thing that we're looking for funds for.
When you talk to investors or potential investors as a young Asian woman, what kind of reception do you get from them?
Yeah, what I have found is you just get less benefit of doubt or a bit more skepticism that how will you be successful compared to your other competitors. And so what I have found with the male counterpart questions is that they tend to be asked questions that allows them to sell the dream versus as a female founder, you tend to be answering more questions that are about risk mitigation. What happens if you lose your customers? What happens if you lose your key employees? And so we address this generally through just using black and white metrics. So whether that's sales metrics or product metrics, we've consistently been able to demonstrate we are 10x better than our competitors. Whether that's through capital efficiency with like a 8-to-1 LTV to CAC ratio, or a retention metric that's 5 times more than the international research of other mental health apps, or 10 times more engagement or reach than the average EAP provider, which only reaches about 2% of employees.
Do you think also that there's a bit of a barrier in terms of understanding mental health, perhaps?
I think at this point in time, mental health is well socialized post-COVID. What there is still room for us to be thought leaders on is a more nuanced discussion around psychosocial risk in the organization. So instead of just a fluffy approach of saying that you have fruit bowls in the kitchen or yoga classes that your employees can take, being very intentional about having visibility about how the work environment is affecting people's health. For example, being able to say 30% of your employees are burnt out. They are burnt out because they feel that they don't have a say in decision making, and they feel not very aligned with the company's purpose, or they might feel that the work pressures are causing them to not have work-life balance, and being able to then systematically look at policies, processes, reviewing the job design as a way of addressing these in a more systemic way.
Do you think is anxiety the high? What kind of things are people really suffering from out there in the workplace?
Yeah, we definitely continue to see anxiety as a top, mental health symptom that people experience. That obviously isn't always fully related to the workplace. It's just the broader economic climate, including climate change, etc. But what we have seen a trend towards is just people prioritizing purpose a lot more, prioritizing work-life balance a lot more, and our organizations often are not set up to optimize for that. And that the complexity of life means that what used to happen is maybe work might be really hectic, and then there would be a lull, and then maybe you might have some health issues that you're dealing with. And then there might be a lull, and then you might have some parenting issues that you're dealing with. What we're increasingly seeing is that there's almost a compounding of these issues where your work, your personal life, your health, everything is all happening at the same time. And so people get overwhelmed. They don't have the support they need. And that's where there's a real opportunity for the workplace to provide the support, because they're generally not able to get it through the public system because of the long wait lists.
Just finally, how do you prioritise your own well-being? How do you keep on top of things? Because being an entrepreneur is very difficult.
It is definitely tricky. I was able to take 2 months off at the end of the year. It was a huge recharge for me. And a large part of it is just hiring really good people that I am able to delegate to, and then being very intentional about setting boundaries around when I do work, how long I work for, and then just ruthless prioritization. Okay, I would love to get all of these things done, but I can't, or I can, but then I would have to work very long days. So really only saying yes to things that I really have to say yes to, and being realistic about timelines.
Dr. Angela Lim, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, Dita.